Okay, right. Put one at right angles to the other. The one in this direction. Okay, right. Put one at right angles to the other. The one in this direction representing your target line. Now simply all I'm going to do is place this one in the middle. So basically it's positioned in the middle of my feet. So I'm going to stand very narrow for this little exercise. And all you're going to do is pick up a club with your right hand and grip it very lightly. One of the things we try to do is to really feel the weight of the club. Very important. You don't want to grip the club tightly. See, the golf club is a relatively light object. With my lead bar that I was swinging earlier, it tends to swing me and put me in the correct position. With this club being that much lighter, we've got to allow it to swing. We don't want to try to put it in position. Very important to let the club swing. See, what we have to really do ultimately here is to learn to make a swing and let the ball just get in the way of the swing. We don't want to attempt to hit it. That's where most golfers go wrong. We see a lot of golfers who, when they start, or who have even been playing for many years, who slice the ball. And the reason that happens is because they get to the top of the swing and they try to hit it and help the ball up in the air. So there's a saying in golf, you have to allow the club head to do the work. There's a little bit of weight down at the bottom, and it'll do it itself if you let it. If you try to help the ball up in the air, that's where most problems happen in this game. So, right, so all I'm going to do is take the club in my right hand, pretty much put it down towards my fingers, and I'm just going to allow it to swing back and forward in a nice, easy manner. So it bounces on my right shoulder and then bounces on my left shoulder. You'll notice as I do this that it follows that plane that we described a little earlier, and it's a very natural motion. Right shoulder, left shoulder. Right shoulder, left shoulder. And as I'm doing this, you can see that my feet are just rolling just a little bit. We'll describe this in more detail as we go on, but just suffice to know as I do this, my feet just roll just a little bit. So very narrow stance, right shoulder, left shoulder. Now the club in the middle here is designed to show us pretty much where impact would be. In other words, where we strike the ball. So obviously you wouldn't want to come in like this. We wouldn't want to come in like that. Ideally, the club has to return to the position where it started at address. So remember, right shoulder, left shoulder. Just do this a few times. You can see how my right elbow is just folding down. And just a nice, easy little movement just to get the feeling of the weight of the club. Now what I'm going to ask you to do is swap hands, because understanding what each hand does in the swing, what each arm does in the swing, is very, very important. So now what I'd like you to do is to what we call choke down on the club. Go down the club a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 inches, nearly to the end of the grip. Hold it in your left hand, and this time just make little half swings going back and forward. Look at my watch. As I swing back, my watch points outwards and my thumb points up. So here we go. Thumb points up, point my watch out, and then swing it down. So my watch now is looking at the target as we swing through, and then once again up into this position with my thumb up in this direction. So we can see thumb up, thumb up. Now just doing this a few times, still swinging it on that same plane, on that same path. See, I'm not taking it out here or taking it in here. I'm just letting it swing naturally up and down, nice and easily, and there we go. Now this will give you a great sensation of what the arms are doing in the swing. Now further to help you to understand this, we've got, it's not a squash racket, it's almost what they call a racquetball racket in America, and we put it on the end of a club. So I'm not quite sure what sport we're playing here, but we'll have a go. Now all I want you to do is picture the face of the racket, and you can see as I swing it back, it gradually just opens. It's like a door. It opens. You can see my thumb points up. As it comes down, it's now closing, hopefully be square at the point of contact, and then closes all the way through to this finish position. So pretty much what I'm doing back here is a mirror image through there. So you can do this quite nicely with a tennis racket. If you have a tennis racket lying around the house, very easy just to picture this shape of the swing, because that's what you have to get into your mind, the shape of the swing. And understanding that ideally what we have to do is return the back of this left hand squarely at impact. And that's how the ball goes straight. To add the speed in, which we'll get into in a little while, we just add a little bit of body motion. But understanding what your right hand is doing going back and what your left hand is doing going back and through, and then tying the two together is what you really need to understand in the beginning. Now, it's time to put two hands on the club. Now, to help us do this, we really have to learn to get a good grip. And I've designed a glove, I'll take this one off, designed a glove to actually help people to show them exactly where to position the left hand on the club. Now, if you're a left-handed golfer, then it's your right hand. But we're talking about your lead hand for right-handed golfers is the left hand. And it's very important that you position it properly. One of the most common faults in golf is the incorrect positioning of the left hand in golf. So I really want you to get this from the very start. Get this left hand placed properly. Now, we're going to take our trusty 9-iron out still. And with this left hand, you can see the markings. See, it's diagonally across my hand. A lot of times we'll actually get a pen and mark people's gloves when I'm giving them instruction, because we see so often that people just grab the club like this and it gets too high in the palm. And that's no good for golf because it creates too much tension. It doesn't allow our wrist to cock or hinge, which is an important feature in the swing. It gives us a lot of power. So very important to get it lower down in the palm towards the fingers. Now you can see if I hold it up like so and I sort of shake hands with it, I'm bringing it from this angle, I position it right through the crook of this first finger, under the little pad of the little finger, and then I close my hand so. Now when I look down at it, I can see about 2 to 3 knuckles on top of my left hand, and I have a little angle here formed at the base of my watch. My thumb is pretty much straight down the club, down the grip, and the thumb and this knuckle are joined together. So really work hard on that. Remember, if you could hold the club up in front of you and then simply shake hands with it and feel it down towards the fingers. You want to feel a little pressure in these last couple of fingers here. Not strangling it, but just enough pressure that you can hang on to it. Now the right hand, there's a couple of different types of grips, but what I would suggest you do to start with is the most common grip is what we call the overlapping grip, where the little finger of the right hand just simply fits on top, just rides piggyback. It's in the fingers and it fits on top in such a way that the hand is very snugly set up towards the left hand. You can see the hands work together as a unit. You don't want to grab it like you're grabbing a hammer. It wants to be pretty much in the fingers, nice and relaxed. And if I look at the V, we call this the V between the thumb and this first finger, it looks up towards my right shoulder. And the right hand is parallel to it. So now my hands can work together as a unit. So important to get this grip right. You just want to fiddle around with this and get used to it so it feels natural, because in the beginning a grip does feel a little bit awkward, but I assure you good golf does begin with a good grip. So you need to put your hands on the club in the same way each time. So there's the grip, and now we're ready to make a swing.